First, there's a question. Over these last days, it's been often said that we have to become divine scientists, divine physicists, and divine alchemists. Now it can be said that the seat of divine science is in our mind, where we explore and examine life. The seat of divine physics in our heart, where we experience and feel life. But the question is, where and what is the seat of divine alchemy? The answer to this question is very important relative to our arriving at that place where we know that love is no longer what it was for us, or the topic of our coming together, the death of love, the passage to non-illusion. There's a story about a man called Ramesh and his wife Saraja. They were poor. Ramesh was a porter. He carried the goods for the merchants and those that vended in the streets of their town. And Saraja was a chambermaid in the palace, the women's quarters of the Raja's palace. But they were poor because a porter's job did not bring very much in the way of substance for them to live on. And times were poor. There was not many merchants who could utilize the work of a porter. So for the most part, Ramesh remained at home, and Saraja went off to the palace to work as a chambermaid. But one day, Saraja was ill, so ill, she said to Ramesh, "Ramesh, I cannot go to the palace today, but we need to put bread on the table. You will have to wear one of my saris and take my job in the palace." What could he do? They needed to have sustenance, food to put on the table. So Ramesh, veiling himself as was the custom of the day, wearing one of Saraja's saris, went off to work in the palace. But as Ramesh was sweeping the passageway of the women's quarters, the daughter of the Raja came out from her bath, and she walked in her nakedness into her chamber. Ramesh was smitten, seeing this vision, her long black hair flowing down her back, her glistening alabaster limbs. He was smitten. He was in love. He could hardly finish his work of the day, sweeping and mopping the passageways of the palace. He almost staggered back to his house, and his wife Saraja said, "What is it? What is it?" But he would not say. But in the following days, Ramesh sat around sighing, mooning. He didn't eat. He could hardly sleep. All he could think of were those ivory limbs, that flowing black hair. He was in love. The days went past, and Suraja was so worried about him. What is it? What is it? He was growing thinner and thinner. Finally, Ramesh told his wife, I'm in love with the princess. Well, at first she was angry. She said, you old fool, look at us, what are we? The poorest of the poor, and you fall in love with a princess? But Ramesh grew thinner. He pined. His wife could see that he was pining away. What could she do? So in desperation, she went to the princess and told of her plight. My husband is fading away with love for you. Could you just speak to him? And she said, but you know, I'm not permitted to speak to men. I would do what you ask me to do. But how could it be when it goes against all the laws and the customs of our life? But then, after pondering a little, the princess had a thought, and she said to Suraja, you know that I go to the temple each 2 weeks to give alms to the monks and the sadhus there. Perhaps if you could ask your husband to dress as a monk or a sadhu, and if he takes his place with them, I may have the opportunity to speak with him. Suraja was overjoyed. She went back and told Ramesh, and Ramesh could not believe that this could be possible for him, that he could be near, smell, see, speak to the one he loved so deeply. And so he could hardly wait until the day came. And then it was. He wrapped himself in a saffron robe and made his way to the temple. And there, lined up in the temple, were the sadhus and the monks, waiting for the princess to arrive. And while they sat, they were chanting. So Ramesh joined the line and sat. But all he could think of, what will I say? What will she say to me? Oh, how will she smell? His mind went around and around and around at the very thought of being close to this beloved being. But the monks were chanting, and so he felt he had to chant also. The monks were chanting, Rama, 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 Rama. And so Ramesh began to chant also, Rama, Rama, Rama. And as he chanted, his mind became quieter and quieter. The chants of the monks and the sadhus became louder, Rama, Rama, Rama. And soon all that Ramesh could feel and hear was Rama, Rama, Rama. as they were chanting, the entourage from the palace came, and the princess alighted from her carriage and made her way down the line of monks and sadhus. And when she came to Ramesh, she bent down and she said, "I'm here. I'm here to speak with you." But Ramesh, his being was filled with the sound, Rama, Rama, Rama. He did not even hear the words or sense the presence of the princess. She spoke to him again. She named him Ramesh. I'm here with you. But Ramesh was with Rama, Rama, Rama. So finally, the princess had to move on to the next sadhu, the next monk, leaving Ramesh. Finally, after the princess had given alms to all, she departed, and the monks and the sadhus themselves arose from their lotus positions and went off in their various ways. But Ramesh was still seated. Rama, Rama, Rama. Saraja wondered why Ramesh was not returning to their home. So she came to the temple. There was Ramesh seated, cross-legged, and she spoke to him. "Ramesh, come! You must come home now." But Ramesh was with Rama. All Saraja's words were to no avail. No call, no touch, no movement could penetrate where and what he had become. She left, and as the chant of Rama resonated through Ramesh, his soul left his body, leaving the shell behind. What does this story mean for us? When we find ourselves in the place where we have experienced love in many, many forms, are they endless? Do they go on? Or do they reach a place which is called unconditional? But even this is only the ceiling of love. To experience what love is, love must die.